Hello BookTube! I am here today to do the Olympic book tag, but you will probably already guess that by the title of this video. I was tagged by Jess from Rebel Reads. Her channel is great and I will link her down below. If for some reason you haven't heard of her, go check her out. And she was tagged by the creator of the tag, RJ from The Secret Stacks. He is also great, so I'll include links for his video down below. And yeah, I'm excited to do this tag, even though I am not the most, I would say, enthusiastic sports fan in the world, or really any much of a sports fan, or very patriotic, so, or not overly patriotic. So, I haven't really watched the Olympics, but the book tag does sound like fun. So, that was something that I can do. Alright, let's get started. So the first question is the opening ceremony. Which book do you think had an incredible opening? And there's lots of books that I could have picked for this. And Alice Hoffman in particular is really good at creating really fantastic first lines or first chapters that just really pull you in. I recently finished The Cider House Rules by Irving, and while I did not enjoy that book, the first, I would say, 4 pages were really good. But in the end, I went with Macbeth by William Shakespeare, which I assume you don't need me to introduce to you. And this is from Act 1. When shall we three meet again, in thunder, lightning, or in rain? When the hurly-burly's done, when the battle's lost and won, that will be here the set of sun. Where the place? Upon the heath, there to meet with Macbeth. I come, grey Malkin. Paddock calls. Anon. Fair is foul, and foul is fair. Hover through the fog and filthy air. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with Shakespeare, but he, a lot of times, is really good at writing prologues. So, the next question is the games. What is your favorite fictional competition? And for that, I was a little bit befuddled because I don't really read a lot of books that have competitions, so, or at least not like outwardly competitions. So in the end, I had to revert to an old childhood favorite, and that was Harry Potter. I'm gonna go with the Triwizard Tournament. Because I thought that, well, it basically, for one, captured an entire book with its, by creating the setting and the environment, but also it's just, I would say, really thrilling to read about, and I would have loved for J.K. Rowling to maybe do a series of short stories about previous Triwizard Tournaments. Not that she's going to, but J.K. Rowling, if you're out there, there's a market of one person, but I'm sure there would be a larger market if you ever decided to do that. Now, the third question is the original. The modern games are based on the original Greek competition. What is your favorite book based on a classic? And for that, I had to go with The Red Tent by Anita Diamant, and which, if you haven't heard, it's the personal retelling of the story of Dina, or Dinah, depending on your interpretation of how to pronounce her name. And she was the only daughter of Jacob. Jacob's 12 sons became the 12 tribes of Israel, and or like their descendants became the 12 tribes of Israel, rather. And so Jacob is really, and Jacob was the son of Isaac, who was the son of Abraham, and so her story is really lost. And so the Red Tent really seeks to, it brings a whole new dimension, I think, to like the biblical story, and it's a really interesting perspective to have, because, and this isn't like a spoiler at all, because it's pretty common, it's pretty common knowledge, I think, but, so Dinah was, according to the Bible, was raped, and her brothers slaughtered the entire city that belonged to the prince who raped her. And so in the novel, it really showcases things from her point of view, which was that she was in love with the man, and but her brothers did not accept her decision. So it's a really, I'd say, a unique perspective So even if you don't necessarily like personally enjoy it, I think it really kind of like broadens your mind, and so and I think gives a voice to a previously untold story. So I think it's really good. I really enjoyed it. So classic, I guess, counts as a chapter of the Bible. Question 4. The Eternal Flame. What is one ship you won't let die, even after the books made it clear that it was never going to happen? And for this, I don't, like, and for this, I kind of had a difficult time. I could have gone with, like, Gale and Kepnes from the Hunger Games, but I don't ship them that much. I just casually did. But, in the end, I decided to go with Memoirs of a Geisha. The characters Sayuri and Nobu, I thought that they were a much better match than Sayuri and, what's his name, the chairman? I haven't read this book for several years, but I remember feeling very dissatisfied with her decision. But again, I have let it go. I've clearly moved on with my life. I don't think the only... Because the only people who I, like, truly ship so much in, I would say, in fiction, no, I'm not gonna mention that, that's kind of embarrassing, but, yeah, Sayuri and Nobu, I thought that they were great together, no matter what the rest of the fandom says. And question 5, Gymnastics. What's a book that had so many twists and turns that left your head spinning? And for that, what else could I pick other than A Song of Ice and Fire, the series? Yes, the whole series that is currently out now. There are 5 books out. First one, A Game of Thrones. Second, A Clash of Kings. Third, A Storm of Swords. Fourth, A Feast for Crows. And fifth, A Dance with Dragons. The 6th one is currently being written. We're all hoping George R.R. Martin does not die before he finishes. But, yes, he is... But those books, I think, they took me to a whole new level of, like, understanding what plot could even be. And so now, like, any plot that I read from, like, any other book ever just seems incredibly shallow and thin. So, yeah, those books, they're on an entirely new level. Let's see. Question 6, The Controversial Judge. What's a book that you had a totally different opinion about than most people? So many books, honestly. But I'm gonna have to go with The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Didn't like it. Don't understand the hype. Thought it was immature. Didn't get Charlie's voice. I think I might try watching the movie at some point, because I adore Emma Watson, because who doesn't? But, didn't get it. And maybe it's because I've never been a big fan of YA in general, and I know that this book kind of started the contemporary YA genre that we know of it, but still, thought it was really overhyped. Question 7, Beach Volleyball. What's your favorite fictional duo? And for that, I am going to have to go with Shug and Shiri by, not in the not The Perks of Being a Wallflower, In the Color Purple by Alice Walker. I think that them together, the relationship was just so healing for the both of them, and I just loved reading about it, and it was really, like, their relationship coming together was really such a, like, beautiful consummation for the story, and left on such a wonderful note for a really dark and tragic novel. Question 8, Weightlifting. What is the most massive book on your shelf? Complete Works of William Shakespeare. I actually got this at a thrift store for like $3, so not bad, but definitely a brick. And it has multi-purposes because I use it to prop the door open sometimes, which is probably heresy to some people, but yeah, multiple purposes. Also, it's great motivation to finish reading things because it's so big that it's like difficult to pick up. So if I'm like, should I keep reading or should I do something else? Oh wait, I can't lift this up from my lap. Question 9. What is a book that you just tore through with world record speed? And I'm supposed to say my favorite Olympic sport. Favorite Olympic sport? Curling? Let's go with curling. Yeah. Curling doesn't get enough appreciation. I should start watching curling. But a book that I tore through with world record speed, not that speed matters in curling, but whatever, was You by Carolyn Kepnes. This was a book that came out, I believe it was last year, and it was kind of a first dip into horror that I've ever read, and it's basically a first-person narrative about I don't want to say like the psychologically wrong term, about a deeply disturbed young man and his obsession with a woman, and it's titled To You, and basically it's addressed to the woman who he becomes in love with and then obsessed with and then stalks. It's very creepy and very disconcerting, but it's something that you just like have to keep going and have to keep going and have to keep going. I read that in just an afternoon, and I think I don't know, I read it as an ebook, so I think it was 250 pages, I want to say. It's hard to tell when you read things electronically, but and question 10. I keep wanting to say chapter. Synchronized Swimming. What is a book series that you kept reading even though you didn't have any idea why? And for that, I'm gonna have to go with a lot of books by Ken Follett. Ken Follett, he is a historical fiction author. Some of his most popular books, his most popular book was Pillars of the Earth, which was made into a mini-series. And he also, so that's one book I've read by him, but I also read Fall of Giants by him. And Fall of Giants, when his books, they're kind of like these long, really big attempts at epics, but they have really a lot of coincidences that happen, like way too many coincidences. Like someone will sit on a bench at one point in like 1932, and that will turn out to be of like the utmost significance in 1976. So it is kind of frustrating. I did enjoy Fall of Giants because I did think it was helpful to sort of unravel the, I would say, politics that happened to cause World War I. So because of that, I'm going to read Winter of the World by him, which is the sequel at some point eventually. But I'm always kind of unsatisfied when reading his books. So I think he's kind of overhyped. There's a lot of, much better historical fiction epics out there than Ken Follett's. So he gets kind of too much hype, I think. And question 11, the tortured fan. Which family, group, nation, organization do you irrationally root for no matter how many times they break your heart? And for that question, my immediate response, or my immediate, answer that came to mind was the Starks from Game of Thrones / A Song of Ice and Fire. But that's what RJ said. But seriously, those poor Starks, every time you think, maybe just once they'll have this little sliver of happiness. Nope, it's completely dashed. Like, they get no slack whatsoever. That poor family, oh my gosh. So I would say the Starks, but I feel like that's cheating. So I'm gonna have to go with Sylvia Plath. Love her writing, and every time you read something by her, you think, maybe just this once it'll end happily. Nope, and we all know how this ends, right? Like, we can't rewrite history, but every time I'll just get lulled into this false sense of, well, maybe it'll be alright. No. Sylvia Plath, you just break my heart. Okay, and question 12, closing ceremony. Which book had an ending that just blew your mind? I know I've already mentioned Game of Thrones multiple times, but I'm gonna do it again. More so than any other book, A Storm of Swords, that there were so many endings where I was just like, rah! Like, I was literally, completely captivated. I think, for the last, those books are immense, right? I think that last one was, I think it was 1,030 pages or something, and for the last 200 pages, I was just enthralled, and my mind was just being blown over and over and over again. That's how good it was. And there's so many, what are you doing moments, but in the best possible way, where you're like, what is going on? So that book is probably one of my favorites in the series, or my favorite in the series, just because the end is so epic. Like, so many epic moments, fantastically epic moments. So good. It's definitely a masterpiece. And the last question is relay race. Who do you tag? I don't really know yet who's been tagged. I can't keep track of who's been tagged and who has not been, so I will, so I'll, like, tweet people or, who I would like to tag, and if you've already been tagged, please disregard this message. But if I do miss you, I'm sorry. If you'd like to do this tag, please do it. You should definitely, like, I know I'm doing this late because the Olympics is, like, over, but, you should definitely do it if you want to do it, and I just don't really, I can't keep track of who's been tagged and who hasn't. Alright, this has been really fun to do. Thank you all for watching. Until next time then, doei!